Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. I'm pretty sure you stood there looking at your portrait drawing and thinking that it looks fine, but it still looks off, like something is wrong, but you just don't know what is it. For today's video, I will take you through the whole process of drawing a three-quarter view of a head, and I will share with you the only tip and secret that most of artists don't speak about, or they just skip, or even think that you already know. So without any further ado, let's get started. So the first step is to analyze the reference. And what I mean by that is doing the structure of the head on top of it. So I'll use Andrew Loomis method. I start with a circle, which represents the cranium of the skull, the biggest part of it, that holds the brain in. And here is the secret, guys, like the simplest and the most valid question to ask. Okay, cool. Now I have the circle you told me to do. So where should I place this circle in a correct way over that head? See, it is like the most predicted and should be asked question while drawing. The placement, the position, where should this line start and where it ends. They always telling you that this line represents something and it should be here. And as a beginner, you just eyeball it or copy it without knowing. So in the end, my portrait looks off because I just shifted like a line a little bit or make a circle big or slightly small. Drawing two lines that I should divide the span between them into halves, but one of the lines is not placed correctly. So things start to fall apart, and you start building a mistake over a mistake. And eventually you start looking at your portrait and knowing that something is off, but you still don't know what. So as a beginner, you should always start with the structure of the face to correctly place everything on its position. So for our drawing, I know the head is a three-quarter view and it's slightly looking up, since I already can see that the eyebrows is higher than the ears, and I can see the nostrils of the nose, also more of the upper lip and a slight part of the underchin. Now for the placement of the circle, you need to line the eyebrow line with the center line of the circle, taking in consideration that the eyebrow line will be angled a little bit, since now we are dealing with a two-point perspective head acting like a box in space. And also it is a good place to show the secret I was talking about, which is how to detect the frontal plane of the head and the side plane of it. So you have two ways to draw the eyebrow line. The first one is by drawing a curve, since we are talking about a sphere. And the other way is to draw lines. And for me, this one, as for beginners, is the most convincing and helpful one, since it will show the box in perspective, and you can note too much information of this way. Now, I already told you that the eyebrow line starts from the center line of the circle. Now the question is, where it ends? That is the question you should ask yourself. So they say to the corner of the eyebrow, and now some will just stop at the end of the eyebrow, which is wrong and will cause lately to make the eye sockets bigger and even wider. And this whole area will fall apart after continuing to draw. So when I say the corner, I mean this part where the frontal plane ends and the side plane starts, or where the head starts to curve from the sides. And also keep in mind that the eyebrow line is actually on the top line of the keystone, not on top of the eyebrows itself, as I'm showing here. So if you put it up here, you will mess up the distances between the hairline and also the nose and chin, and end up with a disproportionate head. So see how crucial that little tip is. Now you can study the structure of the head, putting in mind how important that note is. So let's continue. Again, I'll detect the hair, nose, and chin line. And as you can see, I'm just drawing curves, just because I already detected the frontal plane, so I can work from there. You can still continue with lines. I'll draw the side of the head as an ellipse. Some people start with the ellipse so they can detect the hair and nose line. Now it is time to detect the vertical center line, and that needs some practice. Since now everything is in a 3/4 view, so it's literally a center line that divides the frontal plane into halves. But since we are in perspective, so the line will be shifted. So it won't be shown clearly on the head that it is on the center of the keystone, nose, lips, and so on. So keep that in mind. So the next step is to determine the eye socket, which we already have the upper part of it. Now we need the side part and the lower part. And also, most of the beginners think that the eye socket bottom line is actually on the corner of the eyes, because they saw some artists draw it that way, but they don't notice that they also draw half of the eyeball below that, as I'm showing right now. But actually, the eye socket is below the lower eyelid. That bump below your eyes, if you can feel that on your face, you're gonna find the lower bones of the eye socket below the eyeball. And for the sides of the eye socket, I draw a line attaching the corner of the eye we already determined to the end of the lower line of the eye socket, being tangent with the side ellipse. And then I divide the eye socket area into halves with a line, and that will be the center of the eyeball, that shown clearly on the reference. If I'm going to specify every single line, it would take so much time. I just wanted to enlighten you while studying that it needs much concentration and focus to reach a great level of drawing, and also to answer that question, which is why our portraits most of the time looks off, but still looks acceptable. So I will leave you guys with the rest of this video, so take care and thank you for watching.